everyone. Hello, welcome to Women's Sports International webinar today. This is a so excited moment. I'm sure you find out why soon. So, because we have a wonderful group of presenters, I'm so excited to hear from them as well. Okay, so today's webinar's title is also the name of our new task force called Strengths to Strengths, continuing the legacy of girls and women in sports. So I know you all also are used to use Zoom, but just in case, I'm just going to do the housekeeping information. So when a presentation is going on, please make sure to mute yourself and closed captions, so-called subtitles available in English. So if you like to see the subtitle, you can click CC button to see the subtitle or closed caption. And then during the presentation or anytime, feel free to use your chat to make your comments, ask questions, and use the reaction button to do the interaction session. And then at the end of everyone's presentation, we will have a Q&A session as well. But sometimes you have question and you don't want to forget, and you can type in the chat, and we can always visit that question at the end. So today's agenda is we are going to right after this, our WSI President Diane Hoffman said a quick welcome. And then I am going to introduce about this new task force and what it is and then the purpose of that too. And then each of our task force member, wonderful task force member, are going to talk about their stories. Then after everyone's presentation, we are going to have a Q&A session or comments, all these things. And then at the end, we talk about the WSI overall. So that's our schedule outlined today. Okay. So before I talk about this new WSI new task force, I'd like to hand over to our WSI President, Diane Hoffman, to say a welcome.
Thank you, Kanai. Well, welcome everybody. I think that Kanai has done an excellent welcome. I don't think I can beat that enthusiasm today. And we are, as Women's Sport International, really excited about this new task force. And I'm so happy that the delegates or the participants are here today to share their stories and to explain to us what they're hoping to accomplish with this task team over the next few years. So thank you, Kanai, and thank you everyone for having the interest in this. I think it's going to be pretty exciting over the next while. So welcome.
Thank you, Diane. So now I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen to talk a little bit about this new task force that we just launched. So I'm gonna share my screen again. All right. Bang. Okay, hold on. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself, did I? I'm sorry. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Kanai Haneshi. I am the Secretary General of Women's Sports International. And I am also facilitating this new task force as well. So this new task force is we named as a Strengths to Strengths, continuing the legacy of girls and women in sports. So the purpose of this task force to empower and elevate the next generation of girls and women in sports by fostering leadership, amplifying the diverse voice through storytelling, addressing systematic barriers to participation and representation. So through mentorship, digital engagement, and advocacy, this task force hopes to further progress the future of women in sports while honoring the legacy of those who came before. So that we thought about this, we have many legends in women's sports has done so much work for us to be where we are. And we recognize the importance of continuing their legacy and they even go even further. So that's kind of big mission and big hope and aim of this task force. And the starting member of this task force, we have recruited these five wonderful young women from different places. So they are going to talk about themselves. So I'm not going to talk a lot about them, but these are the four young women right here. You're going to hear from them very, very soon. So then, if I can go to next slide, right here. Okay, so and this task force also brings together emerging leaders from around the world to tackle gender disparity in sports. So their initiatives include storytelling series uh, featuring short personal stories, reels, digital magazines, and the mentorship cycle, which are all designed to inspire and connect young women in sports. This task force launches a $10,000 fundraising campaign to support these members to attend 2026 IWG World Conference on Women in Sports in UK. So next year in 2026, in July, IWG is the International Working Group of Women in Sports. They host a global summit in UK. And this IWG conference is occur once every 4 years. And I am also the one of the person participated in this IWG conference way back 20 years ago. That was my life-changing moment to meet all these um, wonderful female leaders in sports all over the world. So we are seeking these opportunities for these next generation of young leaders, game changers. So and then all additional funds raised over $10,000, we will go toward supporting WSI. So this group is also building a social media presence to promote inclusivity, celebrating underrepresented athletes and drive community engagement. So we have created a separate Facebook and Instagram account for this specifically for this task force. If you click it here and then like us and follow us, there's nothing there yet actually, but it is going to be targeted posting is starting by these task force members starting very soon. So if you take a moment to scan this QR code and then make sure you like us or follow us, and then you will see our members posting coming up very soon. Right now, you don't have anything. You don't see anything yet. And then, like I say, this group is trying to raise a fund to attend this IWG Women and Sports Global Summit in July 2026. So I will share this QR code again later, and you will see over and over and again on the social media. But after you hear their story, their story today, and if you are inspired to support them, please scan this code and then donate. Donate. Okay, so enough from me. I'm sure you're here to hear from other people. So I am going to hand this over to the first speaker. Is our one of the members of this task force, Natsuki Murakami. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and then Natsuki is gonna share her screen. Go ahead, Natsuki.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hi everyone, and thank you so much for being here today. My name is Natsuki Murakami, and I'm an international student athlete from Japan, studying exercise and sports science at Western Colorado University in the United States. And I play soccer for my university's NCAA Division II women's soccer team. Today, I would like to share my story, how sport has shaped who I am, why I decided to come to the US, and why I'm so excited to be part of this amazing group. I started playing soccer when I was 6 years old, inspired by my brother, who is 2 years older than me. But when I was growing up in Japan, there wasn't a girls' soccer team in my town, so I joined a boys' team and played with them until middle school. This is very typical in Japan, so at that time, I was just enjoying playing soccer with my friends. But as I got older, I wanted to play with other girls who were as passionate about soccer as I was. So I decided to leave home and attend a sports-focused high school about 6 hours away from my hometown. During my 3 years of high school, I lived in a dorm and spent my days playing soccer with teammates from all over Japan. We practiced every morning and every evening every day and went to school to study during the day. It was a very tough routine, but we became the second best team in Japan on the national tournament. Through this experience, I learned the joy of working hard and accomplishing something together with my teammates. After high school, I went to Kansai University in Japan and joined the women's soccer team. But our team didn't have a coach and we didn't have our own field. So we always had to share the field, gym, and locker room or everything with the men's team. Because they were prioritized, we didn't get enough time or space to train as much as we wanted. We planned our own training sessions. We watched film and analyzed our opponents before the games, and even decided our starting lineup by ourselves. Looking back, it was a valuable experience for me, it taught me a lot, but at the same time, I felt like I was being held back, not because of my ability, but because of the environment. In March 2023, toward the end of my freshman year in college, I had a life-changing experience. I joined a program called Japanese Bridge Tour, led by Kanai Hanishi and Miyuki Kobayashi, one of the leading figures in Japanese women's soccer. As you may know, Kanai also serves as the Secretary General of Women's Sports International. In this tour, I visited the US for 10 days and played soccer games against US women's college teams. It was my first time experiencing soccer in the United States, and I was shocked. Almost every university had a women's soccer team, and female players had access to their own field, gyms, and proper facilities. They could even receive scholarships to study just by playing the sports they love. That experience completely changed the way I saw my future. During the tour, I made the decision to transfer from my university to the university in the United States, where I'm currently studying.
I've got to get off here.
That's fine. Oh, no rush. No
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it was a big decision for me, and I was really nervous to leave my home country, but I wanted to challenge myself and grow both as a soccer player and as a person. The bridge program opened the door and helped me take the first step towards my dream. Let me tell you a little more about Bridge. Bridge is a Japanese organization that connects women's soccer in Japan with opportunities abroad, especially in the United States, a global leader in the women's sports. Since 1993, Bridge has organized international soccer tours, and since 2004, it has helped Japanese players connect with American colleges and universities. Thanks to the Bridge tour, I am where I am now. Now I have the opportunity to live, study, and play soccer in the US, and each of these experiences continues to shape who I am, both as an athlete and as a person. I will talk about the differences between Japan and the US when it comes to women's soccer. In Japan, many girls still have to quit soccer because there aren't enough teams or proper facilities for them. Some parents don't allow their daughters to play soccer simply because they are girls. In my case, I had to live away from my home to keep playing soccer. I had a great experience, but I also hoped I could keep playing soccer while I live with my family. At the time, I thought that was normal, but after coming to the US, I realized it shouldn't be normal and it need to be changed. Here in the United States, so many girls play soccer as if it's the most natural thing, and there are girls' teams everywhere. It made me realize how things could be and inspired me to get more involved in supporting women's sports. Through my professor Kanae, I became involved with Women's Sports International and began learning about global issues surrounding women and sports. In March 2024, I had the incredible opportunities to attend the 68th session of the UN Commission on the Status of Women in New York City. I joined Women's Sports International's in-person presentation at UN headquarters alongside organizations like the Women's Sports Foundation and the International Working Group on Women and Sports. It was my first time at a global event, and it was truly life-changing for me. I met inspiring women leaders, including WSI President Diane Fuffman. Through these encounters, I learned that the importance of continuing to take action, even in small ways, and of consistently raising our voices as women leaders. That experience taught me that even as a student, I can be part of a movement for change, and sharing our stories is a powerful way to make a difference. When I first came to the US 2 years ago, I could barely speak English. I was nervous and unsure if I could make friends or keep up with my classes. But because I joined the soccer team, I immediately had teammates who supported me, not just on the field, but also in the classroom and in everyday life. Without soccer, I think it would have been much harder to make friends and improve my English. This experience showed me that sports truly has the power to connect people across language, cultures, and borders. Sports create a universal language, and that's exactly what helped me find my place in a new country. Now, my goal is to become a bridge between Japan and the rest of the world. I use social media to share my experience in the United States with young people in Japan. Since coming to the US, I've become aware of unconscious limitation and fixed ideas that I probably wouldn't have noticed if I had stayed in Japan. I want others to experience this kind of eye-opening realization too. That's why I started sharing my daily life in the United States on my social media to inspire and encourage girls in Japan. I want to help break down those invisible walls and show that opportunities exist beyond borders and everyone has potential. So sports has the power to connect us and open the door, no matter where we are from. Thank you for listening to my story. I'm still learning English, cultures, and what I want to do to make an impact on girls' athletics in Japan. I'm continuing to grow as a person, and I want to keep learning more about the world, not just Japan and the US. I truly believe that this team can go even further together. We see this Zoom meeting as a powerful starting point, and our first goal is to participate in the IWG conference in England in 2026. I believe achieving this goal will once again change the way we see the world by connecting with new women leaders from around the world. We would deeply appreciate your support along the way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natsuki, for the inspiring and amazing presentation. So next presenter we have here is Maka. Hold on. I am sharing your screen. Hold on. Hey, wait. Okay. Let me get there. Okay, so hold on, Maka. I am going to share. See if I can do this. Here we go. All right, I am going to share my screen right here. Okay, so do you all see my screen okay? All right, so Maka, let me know when I need to go next, okay? Right.
Awesome, thank you. Oops. Hi everyone, my name is Maka Chikawero, and I'm here to talk about the power of sports. Next slide, please. I want to start off by talking about who MTC is. MTC operates in Zimbabwe and North America, and it is a nonprofit organization for girls by girls, and it invests in community engagement. MTC's mission is to eliminate early child marriages through education, entrepreneurship, sports, support girls and women's empowerment, as well as providing psychosocial support for orphans seeking pathways out of poverty. It also offers counseling and support to girls and women recovering from the effects of Cyclone Idai in eastern Zimbabwe, and overall encourages girls to participate in traditionally male sports such as soccer. Next slide, please. Why inclusion matters. Inclusion in sports and education matters deeply to me because I've seen firsthand how it can transform lives, especially for girls in rural communities like those supported by MTC Educated Girl Inc. For the MTC girls growing up, many girls around were held back due to poverty, early child marriages, and gender expectations. But when given the chance to access to education and the chance to play sports such as soccer, everything begins to change. At MTC, we provide scholarships, school supplies, safe space to learn, and we coach girls soccer teams to help them understand their worth, their being, and overall who they can be in the world. I've watched girls gain confidence, build friendships, and realize their potential and worth through soccer and education. Next slide, please. These are some of MTC's initiatives. As you can see, the top two images on the left are the grassroots and soccer fundraising tournaments. The top two are here in the US. The bottom two are in Zimbabwe and Chimanimani and Mondoro. And then there's more photos of the girls playing soccer. The girls have come a long way. If you look at the bottom middle photo, the girl in the red shirt doesn't have any shoes on, which is where MTC started. But since then, we were able to acquire soccer kits through partnerships as well as shoes, and slowly but surely build MTC's community library and continue to foster MTC's internship and mentorship programs. Next slide, please. According to UN Women data, only around 39% of rural girls attend secondary school globally, let alone participate in sports. This is detrimental, especially for girls in rural areas where they face barriers such as inadequate infrastructure, lack of female role models, early childhood marriages, financial barriers, cultural and traditional barriers, and more. MTC Educated Girl provides girls in rural Zimbabwe with the opportunity to continue their education and participate in male-dominated sports. These girls are presented with tuition, uniforms, supplies, sanitary pads, and anything else they need to be successful. Next slide, please. When women are given the chance, they can break barriers, such as these girls in the photos below. Before MTC was not a thing, there were no safe spaces for girls to come together and play sports and just be young women and girls, which is a privilege that I, among many people, have had in their childhoods. I've played soccer and swam ever since I was a child. I'm now in college, I've gone through school, but the girls who came to MTC didn't have that privilege, and with MTC, we've been able to change that narrative in local communities. Next slide, please. I also wanted to share some of MTC's superstars. Starting off with Fiona and Tino, who are on the left, are some of MTC's scholars, the brightest in the classroom. Next in the middle, we have Ropa. Ropa, little Ropa, after receiving a kit from MTC, has now been able to play soccer even after her own village team, Chimbato, folded. She moved to Nadziwa and is now an MTC Sirens junior captain. She's in school and continues to thrive as a person and as an athlete. We believe in human stories like Ropa Fadzo's. We see more than an athlete in Ropa. We see a leader. Next, on to Passionate and Michelle on the right. Both girls play for MTC and have now made their way to the Premier League, which is huge for these girls because at one point in their lives, this was not an option. Michelle on the far right, who started off with MTC, is our two-time Best Player Award winner at our Mandoro Ngezi girls soccer tournament, as you saw in the previous slides. She's now playing in Zimbabwe's Premier League alongside Passionate and is about to start college. Next slide, please. Thank you for all listening to my story as well as the girls in MTC Educated Girl Inc. These girls have a long way to go, but with all your help and support, we're able to support them and make this world a better place. Thank you.
Thank you, Maka. For those of you who did not have a chance to see Maka's bio, Maka started this MTC. So it's amazing, amazing. She has done amazing thing and continue doing amazing thing. Okay, so next up is Megan? No, Ruby. Ruby. All right, Ruby.
Hello.
Hi. So I am sharing your screen too, correct?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. All right, got it here. Let's see. Let me get there. Let me get there. Okay, so is everyone see this screen okay? Let me just go all the way back forward. Is this good, Ruby?
Yes, it's good.
All right, perfect. Ruby, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Ruby Ann Kagawan. I am from the Philippines. I got to the European Union through a scholarship. It's the Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's Degree, and the program is the Governance and Administration of Leisure and Sports. I graduated just last September, and I was the first Southeast Asian to have earned this degree. While I was a student, I was very active as a member of Women's Sport International and the Confederation of Independent Football Associations, or better known as CONIFA. CONIFA is the world's largest non-FIFA soccer organization. And what brought me to these two organizations is my quest for sport integrity. I was a writer And I was a content creator. I did films as well. And I was into the broadcast industry back in my country. And then I stumbled upon sport corruption. I didn't even know the term for it. I just called it doing what's right in sport. I went around the world trying to find a platform for my voice because when I did the investigation and made my report, I was not being taken seriously because of my gender. So I went around and then finally decided to go back to the country, and that's when the pandemic happened. And I made a digital transformation, uh, trying to build up my LinkedIn. And I was very active with the global conversations on whistleblowing and the term that I eventually learned, sport integrity. So that's how I eventually came across Women's Sport International through Dr. Carol Oglesby and the CONIFA. They were on a webinar, and I felt they are talking about pure sport here. There I was fighting against sport corruption, and there was this group, and then they seem to be struggling to let the world know about their different type of sport paradigm, which is close to the people and not having to deal with national governments. Then I was given a link by Dr. Nadeem Nassif, who's one of our people who's watching right now. And I got a scholarship. So I came here, and while a student, I conceptualized something. And I remember being up against the current within my organization, CONIFA, because so I called it Asia Cup, and I was going to launch it here in Europe. Why Asia in Europe? And I had to start explaining that the Asians are diaspora. A lot of us are diaspora, and we are spread across 4, 5 continents. So also the name Asia, it's not Asian because I wanted us living. We are nations. So in 2023, while a full-time student in Poland, my second semester, I started organizing the CONIFA Asia Cup. And we launched it in Montijo, Portugal, and it broke records from the previous tournaments of CONIFA. We were watched all over the world on a shoestring budget. So that was 2023. And as soon as I graduated in 2024, by October, I started planning the CONIFA Asia Cup 2025. That was our working title. Eventually, it officially became CONIFA Asia Cup London, and I'll tell you the story. So we held it just recently, and this is a digital magazine, and the contents of which I was working on since February, building up on the stories of the teams that participated this year. So we held it in South London, and there's a strong community of Asians there. Next page, please. This was the second time that CONIFA was present in London. The first time was the World Football Cup, and so this time it's the Asia Cup. And I invited a lot of the teams that are under CONIFA Asia and Oceania. By the way, in 2022, I was asked to lead Asia and Oceania when the previous president resigned because of the COVID. And by January 2023, I was elected by the member associations, and I serve a 3-year term. And I'm up for re-election this 2026. So I got a yes from 3 teams, Tamil Elam, and I'll tell you more about them, the East Turkestan and the Tibetan teams. And altogether, they may be just 3 teams, but it's almost like a World Cup because they come from altogether 35 communities around the world. 13 for East Turkestan, 10 for Tibet, and 12 for Tamil Elam. So I will tell you about each of them. Maybe let's start next page, please, about Tamil Elam. I'm sorry, let me say this first. This is a historic cup because for the first time, a non-FIFA tournament was sanctioned by a FIFA national governing body. So the Football Association gave us the competition sanction. So this is very historic. That never happened before. And this is because I got referees from the English football. So it had to be sanctioned by the FA. Usually before this, there was always this chasm, like FIFA would not deal with CONIFA. So, but now there's been an evolution because I've been active in speaking in academic presentations about the fact that billions of people are outside the traditional sports structure. They're not served. All the people groups under CONIFA are recognized by the United Nations, but not all of the governments follow United Nations principles, nor do they even uphold sporting principles. But this is how our traditional sports structures have to deal with the nations. They deal with the national governments. So they deal with the Chinese Communist Party for China. They deal with the Sinhalese government. They deal with governments that actually do not uphold, like the Taliban. They have to deal with the Taliban state. So that's why they cannot allow the Afghanistan senior football team in exile to represent Afghanistan because of their principle. And it's a matter of the sport model. So we had that approval. And as you notice, I'm the only woman on board. This is the Global Executive Committee of CONIFA. And I'm the only continental president who's a woman. We meet monthly. And then the AGM, early in the year. And it's not been easy, especially when I would bring across new ideas like the Asia Cup and other tournaments that I have also proposed to them. Next page, please. Let me tell you about the Tamil Eelam FA. There are about 3.4 million people around, spread across the world. They have a transnational government in 12 nations, and they were subjected to massacres. So the state was genocidal towards them, so ethnic cleansing. But a lot of them were able to escape and gain education. So the ethnic cleansing of Tamil Eelam has been happening for the past 6 decades. And they became the back-to-back champions. So they won in 2023, and they won again this July. So that's about the Tamil Eelam. Next page, please. They were the host, by the way, of this second Asia Cup. Let me tell you about the Tibetans. We know the Tibetans as very, very peaceful people, but in the 1950s, when China occupied Tibet, in the Tibetan plateau, everybody had to take up whatever weapon they could get to give a safe passage for the Dalai Lama, who was only 20 years old at the time, to escape, because they're rooted in that belief about the Dalai Lama. He's the 14th Dalai Lama. They also have a genome that only the Tibetans have, 60,000 years. So they cannot be made into something they're not. They're being synicized, turned into something that they're not. But they're the only ones who can survive up in the Himalayan mountains, on low oxygen. So that makes them who they are, the Tibetans. They are a peaceful people, and for me, they are some of the best people on earth. So they're spread across 10 countries with the central government in the Dharamshala in India. That's their holy city. So you can imagine they are about 7 million people, and they can't even represent themselves in football or any sport. So they have a national sports administration, and one of the sports they're playing in is football. So they're one of our original members. Next page, please. What's the goal of these people? Why do they want to play? It's their peaceful way of letting the world know about their story so that they will not be erased. If they don't do this, soon humanity will forget that they even exist. So their goal is for their youth to continue to know their language, their culture, their great past. That's why they play. Next page, please. Let me tell you about the story of East Turkestan. In this Asia Cup, they represented the largest number of people. They are 40 million. They call themselves East Turkestan because they associate with the Turkic people on their west. So they are the east, but they are also being Sinicized. And you might have heard about what they've done to the Uyghurs. The Uyghurs are from East Turkestan. They're subjected to mass internment, organ harvesting, slave labor. And the pain that they have is that they actually, these people, the Tibetans, by the way, 1.2 million people have been massacred. For the East Turkestan, it's also over over a million people. But their stories are not heard, and it's overshadowed by certain stories in certain regions, and so it hurts them. This Koniva Asia Cup 2025 is the first time they raised their flag as a nation in an international sporting platform. Every time they watch the Olympics, they cry because they don't have their flag there. 40 million people not represented in sport. This is the kind of platform Konifa gives. So if we can press reel number 2, so next page, please. This is an interview I did in Amsterdam. The president of East Turkestan FA is based in The Hague. So if we open the next page, and let's press that one. Yes. And let's let it play. Audio. The audio, please.
Hold on, when I shared, I didn't share the audio. Hold on. Let me share it again. Okay, hold on. Let me replay it again. Let's see. All right. Okay, hold on. Right here. Oh, sorry.
Country.
So
let me start over. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Stop. Right, ready?
Olympic, the World Cup from our country. When we saw different country representing their people, their country, singing their national anthem, we are always feeling really sad. I told you that's gonna happen because we always dream when we can do that on the international platform to sing our anthem, to represent East Turkestan, waving our flag. That was our dream. Of course, East Turkestan is still not independent yet. In our region right now in East Turkestan, there's genocide going on. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to study our own language, our own history, our religion. We are not just participating in a football game. That's why the Konifa Asian Cup means a lot for us. We want to use this stage to show to the world we are a nation. Everyone watch.
Thank you very much. And you can see the logo that we created this in 2023. These are the founding nations, and that through our diversity, these are their symbols: the lotus, the maple leaf, and the crescent with the star. If you study it, they all symbolize nations, the founding nations of the Asia Cup. So we're united with all our diversity, and we're trying to fly and blaze in the world. So that's the East Turkestan. Can you imagine the pain of not being able to even be recognized as a nation? Next page, please. And for the first time, we had partners. So it wasn't that I was even chasing, but they were the ones wanting to partner with us because they see Konifa Asia as an access to a huge underserved and untapped market. So we had this, and I introduced AI technology, digital technology. Next page, please. And also sustainable activities, or like the sustainable sportswear, not made in China. And so it's made in Thailand with a recycled material. And this digital magazine, instead of paper, is also a sustainability integration in sport. Next page, please. So these, if you, I can share with you, or Kane can share the link later on, but this is their story. If you could take the time to read their story, and that's their roster. This is Tamil Elam. Next page, please. So the Tibetan story is here. Next page, please. And the East Turkestan story is here. So finally, in the last page, some snippets of our game in London with the English FA referees, and just the joy of being able to raise their flag and peacefully tell their story. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Those are inspirational stories about Kunifa. You always talk about it, but this is first time for me also to hear that deep side of it and the history of that. So that was very, very good. Yes, I will definitely share if that's okay with you.
Yes.
This information with the audience so they can look into more in the depth.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Ruby.
Thank you too.
So thank you, Ruby. So now we're gonna hand over to Megan. Megan. Let's see. Hold on, I'm having Megan's here. Right, so Megan, are you ready? So I'm gonna share my screen again, and Megan's gonna speak here. All right, okay. Let me just make sure I'm... Okay, Megan, do you see my screen okay?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much.
Go ahead, whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone, my name's Megan. I'm from Washington, D.C. I just graduated high school, and I'll be attending Columbia University in the fall. Just as a warning, my connection keeps saying it's unstable, so hopefully it'll be okay, but apologies in advance. So just talking about myself, I've always loved playing and watching sports. I played basketball, soccer, tennis, softball, and football growing up. I played on a bunch of teams, and sports was always so important to me. I developed, a huge community.
Okay, Megan, can you hear us okay?
I was also...
Okay, Megan, I think you're breaking, so you may want to turn off the video, might be better. We lost you for few seconds. Sometimes the audio works better when the video is not working. I mean, the video is turned off. So
Okay.
let's
Should I
try.
turn my video off?
Huh? Yeah, let's try that. And then can you go back to few sentences before that? We lost you few seconds before that.
Okay, yeah, definitely. So, I was talking about that I was always particularly passionate about American football. And going into high school, I wasn't sure about playing tackle football, but I really still wanted to be a part of my high school football team. So I reached out to the head coach, and he was able to give me a position as a manager and strategic analyst of my high school football team. And so, as much as I was able to help out the team, it also did a lot for me, and it was an amazing experience to see football from the coaching side of the ball, and it inspired me to want to pursue sports management in the future. But it was also a very new experience for me being in a community that was very male dominated, and I often felt lonely and unconfident in sharing my full opinions. And so recognizing that I wasn't alone in these experiences and feelings, I reached out to female role models who had success in the sports world and who could encourage young women like myself not to give up. And hearing their stories, I knew how much their insights could really help other girls who are similar to myself and really interested in sports. Could you go to the next slide, please?
So I wrote Redefining the Field, The Triumphs and Tribulations of Sports, which is a book I published around a year ago that consists of 30 interviews with women leaders in sports from all sectors, including sports management, coaching, business, social justice, analytics, journalism, and more. And the goal of the book is to inspire young girls to pursue their dreams within sports, showcase the variety of job opportunities in the sports industry, and to share the stories and journeys of incredible yet often unrecognized women in sports. So I interviewed women leaders in sports from all different sports, including football, basketball, tennis, soccer, hockey, and all different levels from high school and the local level to college to major leagues and the national level. One of the women I interviewed was Jeannie Buss, who's the owner and president of the NBA's Los Angeles Lakers. I interviewed Amy Howie, who's the CEO of FanDuel, the sports betting company. I interviewed Tamika Tremaglio, who's the former executive director of the National Basketball Players Association. And another person I interviewed was Allison Locks, who's the director of business development and innovation at ESPN, along with a lot more people. And in each interview, we got to learn about the interviewee's journey to their current position, what they do in their role, how their interest in sports first came about, and what being in the sports industry has been like, both the good and bad, and what advice they would give to young girls. So the book, Redefining the Field, is available on Amazon, and all the proceeds are donated to sports organizations who are working towards helping women. I've sold a couple hundred copies, and the profits of that, over $1,000, have gone to the Women's Sports Foundation. I'll put the link for the book in the chat. And essentially the goal and mission behind the book is for young women to understand there's a space for them within sports, and that it might not always be easy, but it's worth it to follow your passions. And this can apply to many industries, not just sports, that are male dominated and have historically been created for men. I also want girls to know that there are role models for them to lean on and learn from within sports and otherwise. And I hope this inspires them to work hard and be role models for girls in future generations. Next slide, please. There are multiple stages to creating the book. The first one is obviously reaching out to a lot of women, which is one of the most difficult parts. Because I reached out to hundreds of women and eventually got 30 that agreed to being a part of the book. And then I did a lot of research on these women, and I created really specific questions geared towards their specific journey. And then I actually conducted the interviews, and this was definitely my favorite part, getting to know these women on like a personal level. And then I transcribed the interviews, edited everything, and then eventually did the formatting for the book. And then I entered a new stage once the book was published, which was marketing. And this was definitely one of the most difficult stages, because when you're not an established author, it's hard to get your name out there. But that's how I came into contact with Women's Sports International, where I did my own webinar talking about my book and hoping to publicize it. I also went on a lot of local news channels. So you see the picture on the screen there, when I talked about my book on Fox DC. Next slide, please. There are a lot that I hope young girls take away from the book. At the end of the book, there's a page that has a quote of advice from every woman I interviewed. Some of the takeaways that I personally took away was that there is a space for women within sports, and it might not always be an easy journey, but it's definitely worth it to follow your passions. I really enjoyed learning about the variety of jobs within the sports industry, apart from maybe just being a player or coach, especially with like innovations in technology and the rise of social media and stuff. There are a lot more opportunities to participate in sports, even if you're not just an athlete. Moreover, I learned to work hard in the face of adversity, and even though the sports industry is largely male dominated, you can make a space for yourself as a woman by showing up and giving it your all every day. And I learned to take comfort in uncomfortable moments. Often being in a challenging or scary situation will push you to the next level. Another important thing that I think I learned was to keep an open mind, because reading about or learning about the journeys of these women. Many of them didn't have an affinity for sports when they're younger or didn't even expect to go into sports as a career, but they're somehow through some avenue. And that's because they kept an open mind and always worked hard. And yeah, so the main themes that I would take away from the book would be perseverance and open-mindedness. I guess just talking overall about women in sports and being a part of the task force. Um, I really hope that my journey kind of doesn't end with a book, and that's why I'm really excited to be a part of the task force. And as Kanai talked about, largely what we're doing is hoping to like center women's voices in sports, from people who've really made a difference in the industry to just regular girls who are really interested in sports. And that's something I did in my book, and I really hope to continue doing with the task force. And a lot of kind of my activism within sports has been focused on women.
Megan, we lost you again.
Sorry, where did I cut out?
Cut out, hoping to reach young women, like with this task force, you hoping to continuing, what you did in the book.
Sorry, what'd you say?
So you said that, not your active work are not ending. You're hoping not to end with just this book. So you're excited to continuing the activism work with this task force.
Yeah, I was just talking about kind of centering women's voices within sports through the task force, just like I did with the book. And as well as continuing to try to help women in other countries because my activism has been more focused for women in the US. Yeah, that's it essentially. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Megan. That's fantastic. Thank you. All right, so last but not least, Sonia, are you ready? Let me just stop sharing my screen. And Sonia, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hi, my name is Sonia Lamar. I just wanted to apologize ahead of time. I didn't have as much time as I wanted to prepare for this. I had a really good friend of mine pass away last week, so I've been attending, funerals and processions for her family and friends and such. So it's been a bit of a hard week, but I'm pushing through, and I think it's honestly provided some much needed context for me. We played soccer together when we were younger. So it's allowed me the motivation to continue doing things like this to make it that much more inclusive for, like younger girls like us. So it's really nice to be able to be a part of an organization that can provide such that. Sorry. For that. But anyways, introductions wise, I am a current student athlete at Seattle University. I play Division I soccer there, and I am majoring in political science with a minor in criminal justice and French. And I was first able to connect with the WSI through a history class I took where I interviewed Dr. Carol Glesby regarding just the WSI and the different transnational feminist activities and methods that they used. And through that, she was able to recommend me for this task force, and I'm eternally grateful for that. Thank you so much. I've had the utmost privilege of working with these girls who, as you've heard already, have done so much, and I am absolutely in awe of everything. But with this, I just wanted to share like a little bit about my experience in regards to growing up in the US, with the different youth level soccers, as well as I am also a member of the Trinidad and Tobago women's national team. I currently play for the senior national team, but have played for the youth national teams, including the U17 and U20 team. And just that comparison between the two different countries, US and Trinidad, obviously, has been something that I think is really insightful in regards to me in general. But in regards to academics, I am technically an upcoming freshman in the academic fall year. I graduated high school in December of 2024 and began my college career in January of 2025. So a semester early, but it was very insightful. In regards to my youth career, I grew up in the US I currently live in Ohio with my family, and go to school in Seattle, so a little ways away. But I grew up in suburban Ohio, where basically girls soccer and is not held to the same standard as men's soccer in a way, which I'm sure many are familiar with. But it would go from playing, for example, recess, going to recess and playing soccer at recess, and there would be 20 dudes and two girls. And often we would be referred to as Tom girls. It would be me and my friend who passed away. And oftentimes we'd be referred to as tomboys, which isn't necessarily an insult, but isn't necessarily a compliment either. So, these terms that we've created as well to describe women who are interested in sports and passionate about it is something that I think is also really not necessarily set us back, but hasn't exactly advanced such things. And I know, at least in my experience as well, women who are passionate in sports are oftentimes being labeled as like lesbian or gay or going into things like that, where if you're good at your sport, that is the only conclusion. And obviously that's not true. I've met yeah, but and with this, I it's provided like different perspective for me in regards to experiences and such, like growing up for playing for one of the best teams in the nation for ECNL. I played for International Soccer Club. It's locally based in Medina, and through this, I was the only girl that looked like me on the team for majority of the years. And th not to put anything against the club, but it was clear that there were some issues in regards to I'm not sure how to articulate this correctly, my apologies. But who started and who didn't was very much affected sometimes by parents and, some stuff with that. But with this, growing up, playing for this team where there was nobody who really looked like me or had similar experiences, and having to experience different kinds of, I'd say, racism in a way, was something that's really built me into the person I've become today and just made me that much more emphatic to all the experiences of women in general and just the need above anything else to listen and learn. Coming into this organization, especially, and being surrounded by such incredible women, it's just made me realize how much more I have left to learn and how truly honored I am to be able to be a part of the sport in general. But through going through this youth sport, I um, would be a part of different circles where, for example, we'd have like a braiding session where everybody would want to have the same team hair before a game. And very oftentimes I was unable to participate due to moms not being able to, obviously maintain with the afro. So being excluded from such circles obviously made me feel as though I wasn't a member of the team, almost as if I personally was separated from everyone else. And that was one of the initiatives I wanted to bring into this organization specifically. And obviously, Kane will explain following. But one of the things that I recommended that as an organization or just the task force in general that we focus on is bringing into light different representatives, whether it be those who are in the highest forms of the sport playing professionally or those who are simply just playing recreational, but illustrating that there are women who look different, who talk different, who all over across the world, and embodying that it doesn't matter what you look like or where you're from, that sports is for everyone, not just men. And not only that, but not just for specific demographic of women as well. So I think that's really important for me as well, and just honoring my friend also. So, I apologize. I totally would have come up with a presentation and everything. It's just been a tough couple of days. So, thank you again.
Thank you, Sonia. The touching talk. And I already messaged you, but we really, really, really appreciate that you're here and you are who you are. And we really appreciate that. Okay, so thank you. So that concludes our presentation. And now we're gonna move on to our Q&A, but more so like informal comments and questions and so on. So I see the hand up right there. Hi, how are you? I remember you too. Hi, Doctor.
Me?
Yes. How are you
Nadim,
doing? Go ahead.
Hi, I'm good. It's always a pleasure to be part of your seminars. You hearing me?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. First, how many questions are we allowed? Because the presentation were so... No, seriously, I mean, I don't want to take too much time, but um, I, I have my first question is for excuse me, just yes, Natsuki.
Yep, go ahead.
I'm wondering how. I mean, you describe the situation of football in Japan, women football in Japan, as like these girls putting so much effort. Like it seems that women football in Japan is not very well established. But despite that, Japanese national team won the 2011 Women World Cup. They made the final in 2012 Olympics. They went the final of 2015 uh, uh, World Cup final, and in 2011 they won it, and they had the earthquake and the tsunami the same. So how come? I mean, if lack of establishment, despite this lack of establishment, how come Japan is so good in women football? This is what I would like to know. Maybe if you can give me an insight about that.
I think the soccer play style is completely different from US or other country, and we practice. For me, before I came to the US, I practiced soccer like every day, and we didn't have like summer break or winter break, so we practice a lot. That's the main difference, I think.
It's the Japanese heart that makes the difference. Okay, thank you. Got my answer. Can I ask other question, or someone else should ask now?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. My question now is for Megan.
Megan, yes.
Yeah, Megan. I'd like to know, because I share a think tank in my university, and we do the rankings for countries in sport, and we measure the popularity of all the sports. And I'm seeing women's soccer worldwide going really high. Now we have there's a player who signed a £1 million. There's a transfer in women football. The value is £1 million. So it's it's a groundbreaking news. So women soccer is developing. Women developing around. Where do you see women American football, especially now in 2028? You will have flag football in the Olympics. Do you think that this take women American football to the next level, or you think things will not change?
I'm so sorry, my signal went out. You said that women's soccer was the most popular. What was your question, though?
No, I'm saying that women's soccer is really improving.
Yeah.
The popularity of women's soccer is improving. Women basketball is improving.
Yeah.
What about where do you see women American football in a couple of years? Especially that in 2028 you will have women flag football in the Olympics. Do you think that will this take women American football to the next level? You think the professional American football league for women will improve after that?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great question. You're right. I think that definitely in the next coming years there will be an increase in popularity for women's football, there's a lot of new initiatives by the NFL to increase opportunities for girls playing flag football, not even just in the US, but in Europe and Africa as well. And yeah, definitely with the women's football, flag football in the Olympics. And I know that some colleges are now giving scholarships for girls to play flag football at their colleges, that I'm really hoping more women are able to play flag football. And especially now that there are more women coaches in the NFL and in other leadership positions, that women feel inspired to not only maybe play football, but to kind of join the NFL and other types of football leagues and other capacities as well. That's my hope, and that's what I expect to see. But yeah, I guess we'll see. Thank you for the question.
My third and last question, I promise. This is for Ruby. Ruby, I think what you're doing is great. And do you think that there is an opportunities for research for a new type of competition? We have international sport, countries versus countries. We have professional sport, clubs or franchise versus franchise, or clubs versus clubs. But this is, I think, groups of people against group of people. So do you think that there is an opportunity for new type of research concerning this new field? I mean, it's not a new field, but we don't see a lot of research made on this kind of competition between a group of people. So do you think that there is opportunities for research for that? Thank you. This
Yes,
was my last
yes,
question.
yes.
Okay.
In fact, I would like it to be my PhD thesis. I need a laboratory to develop this new kind of sport paradigm because we only have two sport models right now, the European sport model and the North American sport model. And I feel that it's not responding to the call of the times, which is the world is on the verge of war, and there are pockets of war in different regions. And that's because people are trying to assert their identity rather, because there are occupiers and oppressive regimes. So for me, instead of taking up weapons of war, why not give them a platform for their voices? That is a tool for peace, sport. So and also if we go back to the origins of sport back in the Greek times, that they used sport to keep the people from protesting, from revolting, right? And when Pierre de Coubertin revived the Olympics, in the modern Olympics, it was in response to the result of the war in the 1870s, right? It was for him a way for peace with the nations, the surrounding nations, but also to prepare for war. So sport is really powerful. So right now we need to conceptualize sport in a way that allows the international sport federations to deal directly with people instead of calling organizations that are outside these traditional sport structures as rebels, as black federations, as renegades. Why? Why do you call them renegades? We are 8.2 million people in the world, 8.2 billion people in the world. The fan base of FIFA is 3.5 billion. So what has happened to the 4.2 billion people? They're not represented. And your football is primarily very European. You ask anybody in Asia who's their fan favorite FC, it will always be a European. So why? Because sport is global and we're still using Western norms on non-Western countries. So I find that we need to have a very devoted research in this field so that we can address the call of the times. Thank you for that question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments? Diane, please.
Thank you, Kanai. My question is for Maka. I'm very interested in the organization that you've started, and I wondered, do you have a headquarters in Zambia as in Zimbabwe as well as with yourself? And who funds your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. So MTC Decatur Girl Inc. operates in both the US and Zimbabwe. We have MTC library that we're building, which kind of serves as our MTC center in a way. So we get book donations and stuff like that for the girls to enhance their literacy skills. And so we have mentorship circles, skills building, and even local leaders come to talk to those girls in those safe spaces, which often happens at our tournaments as well. And with funding, a lot of it is doing the fundraising soccer tournaments, which I spoke about earlier in my presentation in Madison, Wisconsin, where I live. And so a lot of the money comes from there. We tell people coming to play in the soccer tournament the stories of girls, why we're doing this, and what their contributions to MDC means for the girls. And so that's one way. Another one is plain donations from people who have been working with me for many years, as well as other nonprofit organizations, as well as grant writing. I've gotten into doing a bit of that in the recent years. That's how I was able to get the soccer kits for the girls, the blue ones, the red ones, and whatnot, as well as soccer equipment from partner organizations that have helped and believed in MTC since its origination. And so a lot of it is talking to people, sharing what I do and why I believe it's important, as should you. And so, or as why they should also believe in the cause that I have. And so a lot of it is more so just talking to people and having them understand the importance of girls and women's participation in the classroom as well as athletically.
Okay, it's a lot of work.
Thank you.
Oh, very good. So as I was saying in the chat, I'll be in Zimbabwe in October. So if we can have an off meeting, off the webinar meeting, so that maybe I can do an interview. We're doing interviewing on safeguarding of different sport for development organizations. So it would be good to have a chat with you.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Great. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, Diane. Anybody else has any questions and comments?
That's very good.
Well, maybe I can give one question to all. So, what are you all excited about with this task force? And what do you hope to accomplish? I know some of you talked about it, but maybe in a short time, more like personal, in personal level. When we ask you to join the task force, you're like, yes, and what are you excited about this task force and moving forward? So can we get your quick comment answering that question from all of you?
If I'm allowed to start, I
All
think
right,
that
go ahead, Maka.
this task force is for young women and girls and stuff like that. And so we all come from different walks of life. Some of us currently being athletes, some who just played soccer, a sport in the early childhood. We all have that same passion for representation in sports, which really matters. Being a Black girl who swims, there's not many people who look like me or do so at the high level. The first girl that I saw, or woman that I saw, was Simone Manuel. And playing soccer, a lot of the African teams that do come to the World Cup or different sporting events often don't make it far, but those that do are an amazing sight to see. And so seeing people that look like you matters. Advocating for those who even don't look like you also matters. And everyone does have a place in sports, even though we've been told for however long that's not the case. And so that this being on this task force, being with like-minded young individuals, it shows that we're not just working in a silo, but there's other people around the United States, around the world, who are also fighting for the same causes that we are, even if we don't know it. And so it's really special that we get to be together and meet and try to make the world a better place.
Thanks, Megan. Thanks, Megan. So thanks, Maka. Thank you so much.
I can go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, for me, this is very refreshing because I am with girls and women who are trying to make a difference. And that's a balance for me because I'm in a world dominated by Western men. And I am an Asian woman trying to break barriers and introduce ideas that have not been done in sport. So for me, it's this kind of bonding and this kind of moral support that I'm getting from this task force is important, and it will inspire me to magnify my voice even more because I am with all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ruby. Oh, all right. Who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Okay, go ahead, Sonia.
So I'm honestly super honored even to be recommended for such a board. These women are just incredible to even have the privilege of working with them and speaking with them. And I think for me, I just wanted to treat this not only as a learning opportunity, but as well as just to put something in context with my time with the national team and seeing just the differences in how the women and men's team are treated, not only in like Trinidad and Tobago, but also in the US in like the summer team leagues. I participate in it as well. So just trying to find different initiatives and ideas to just progress this, not only like for these teams and through the task force, but just continuing on as well. So
Thanks, Sonia.
I can go.
Okay, go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, kind of like I was talking about in my presentation, I'm really excited to learn about kind of the stories of other people. I think storytelling has been kind of like the heart of all the work I've done. So I'm excited to continue with that. Just hearing about all the stories of the girls on the task force today was incredibly inspiring and interesting to me. So yeah, I'm excited to learn more about other people and their stories within sports and yeah, making a difference, continuing to make a difference.
Thanks, Megan. Natsuki, go ahead.
In my life so far, like meeting women leaders like Kanae or Diane made me a lot of impact, and then they helped me grow like other women leaders. So in the future, I wanna make an impact like the people younger than me. So I wanna meet like as many women leaders um as I can, and I wanna grow like as a women leader who lead a world.
Thank you, Natsuki. Diane, go ahead.
I just want to thank these young women. This has been fantastic. And because your first, well, your second sort of part of your strategy, this first one, I think has been very successful, but your donate for the IWG conference. I really think that we have to go beyond just getting you there. I think that it'll be important that you share your stories there. And I think that as a board member of the IWG, Women's Sport International has the opportunity of having a place at an opportunity for meetings. And I think one of those should be where you could do a presentation. If you're taking all the effort to get there, it would be good if you were doing some type of a presentation. And I think that when you do a presentation at a major conference like this, it opens your door to meeting even more people because they want to come and talk to you afterwards. So this is just a great opportunity. I think your GoFundMe sort of action is a very positive thing. It'll hopefully we'll have the money or you'll raise the money for all of you to attend. And I just want to congratulate you. I think that this team is going to make a big difference for Women's Sport International, not just yourselves, but it'll help put us forward in many different ways. So thank you very much.